Excuse me, class. Class!
But this I get nervous about. I get real nervous. I have here 4 dead trees. And this is by far the biggest one. And then there's a couple small ones. I'm not too worried about those, but this one here, I'm nervous. I am very nervous about. And the reason I'm nervous is it's not something I'm comfortable with, but I got to do it. If you look here at the base of the tree, it is, I don't know if you can tell here, but it's pretty steep. And the tree is leaning slightly towards the house. And it will, I think it's tall enough to reach the house, which is not good. So I'm going to try to take it from what looks like, right now, it looks like it has a trajectory to go right here. And I'm going to try to get it to fall right here. And that is a best case scenario. This tree died. It started getting brown after the fire a few years ago. And I thought it was going to recover. The next year it kind of halfway recovered and got green on the top half or so again. And then it just slowly, and by this last spring we knew it was dead. And then the one next to it went brown within a few months, and then the next 2 died this last summer. So it's time to cut them down. And like I said, I always get nervous because there's blackberry brush everywhere, steep drop off right there at the base of it. I got my house right here. I got fencing right here. I got people texting me like crazy right now. And I'm not a faller. I'm not a lumberjack. You know, most of the trees I've cut were down in Texas on flat ground, and I could lay them where I want them, and most of them grew straight up. Out here, I have not had the success of getting trees to go where I want them to go. The last 2 I've done went where I wanted them to go. So I'm just doing a lot of praying, and I'm really hoping that I can continue in that tradition of getting it to go where I want it to go. I don't know that I will ever get used to get to where I can just walk out, look at a tree, and fall it without some hesitation, because people die doing this. They really do. They die doing this, and people with decades of experience die doing this. So I don't have decades of experience, you know. I have a few dozen trees in my lifetime I've cut down, maybe 4 dozen total. And again, most of them in Texas. I've probably done a dozen or more here, and only gotten 2 or 3 to fall where I want. Now, it is the last 2 or 3 that I've done. I use a lot more with the wedges, and I really try to get it to go where it needs to go. But I'm terrified. I am terrified when I do this. So pray for me. Hopefully you get to see the rest of this video.
What?
Nothing. You just too much you can see.
Here, I thought I'd show you this. That is the inside of the bark. You see all those holes? That is not healthy. That is the sign of worms, pine beetles. This summer, there's a smaller tree down here. I peeled off a big chunk, and there were just some really big, long worms. They were nasty, white. Those were the larvae of the beetle, and check that out. I just pulled a chunk off. Apparently, well, apparently there's some other little creatures that like to stay in there as an insulated area. There's a yellow jacket I'll be happy to burn and kill off. Some of y'all may be asking, Aaron, what's blue stain? Well, if you've never seen blue stain, it's beautiful. Comes from, my understanding, is a bacteria from the poop of a beetle that is, they lay the eggs under the bark, they hatch out, they start eating into the wood and pooping, and then they bore out of the bark and fly out to another tree, do the same thing. These trees, we had quite a few pine beetles come through here, killed quite a few trees. There's still some dying off. Not much you can do about it, but this one has blue stain, and you can even see that right there is blue stain. Even the branches are blue stained all the way down. If you don't mind the sound, it's my son breaking up these branches. But it's blue stain all the way through here, and you can see streaks of blue stain going in all the way around, real nice and light, and they go all the way through this these logs, and it's gorgeous. The very top of the log had blue stain. Here's the very bottom where I cut it. Let me try that, and there you can see all that blue stain, all this right here. And if you go to a mill and try to sell red fir, ponderosa pine, which this is white pine, if you try to sell any of that and it has the blue stain in it, they give you next to nothing. I think last time I saw the prices about a year and a half ago, they were buying red fir for, I don't remember, it was like $400 to $700 per 1,000 board feet, maybe $350 to $600 depending on quality. Cedar, you know, $900 to $1,500 a board foot and up. And even the pondy pine, you were getting several $100s a board foot. Sorry, per 1,000 board feet, not per board foot. Wish I could get hundreds per board foot. Per 1,000 board feet, you'd get $200 to $300. But if you had blue stain and you take it to these mills, they give you like $50 a 1,000. $50 a 1,000 board feet. That's ridiculous. It's crazy. And they mill it and sell it, and it usually sells cheap from the mills, the big mills, because they really don't have a niche or a market for it. But there are mills that only want blue stain pine and ponderosa, white pine, lodgepole, and those guys look for it. They pay premium for it. They mill it and they sell it, and they have different mills have their own classes of how much stain and what color the stain is. And I've seen those sell for $4, $5, $6 a board foot. It's insane how much I've seen it go for. And it's very valuable, and it makes beautiful siding, beautiful furniture, makes beautiful anything. And so I'm really looking forward to this. This log right here, the very base log of this tree, it only has, there's a branch there. That is one of the only ones on this whole tree, on this whole section. 12-foot section. You can see where some old ones there had died and rotted off, but that's going to be a gorgeous, gorgeous log to cut into. And I may cut, I don't know what I'm going to cut out of it. I may cut a bunch of 4x4s. I may cut steps out of these. Who knows? Who knows? It's gorgeous. And even these trees, most of the knots, very, very small. Even this knot right here, which looks real big, once you get into it, that's not a very big knot. And I was a lumber grader, and that's what I look for when I'm looking at trees, when I'm looking at boards. I'm trying to grade them out as I look at these logs. I never learned how to grade logs, but I can see this log and tell you this is going to make some gorgeous wood. Gorgeous wood. No rot, nothing. So very, very, very excited. All right. Woo, just about got it all cleaned up here. Just got some logs in the road. We're going to move these out. I'm going to bring my truck down. We're going to chain them up. We're going to drag them down to the log yard area.
Well, that's not what I wanted.
Time to get the truck and a chain and try to pull it out of there.